Okay, this one's a monster. Siva, Smashing Pumpkins, for Mr. Jason Mansour, a gentleman who is very concerned with me eating enough. Jason, thank you for the food, and also for Oh Please. Thank you for the excellent request, Oh Please. Get comfortable. Here we go. Ready? So the beginning, what we're going to do is your guitar's tuned normally, and what you're going to do is you're going to strum the open low E string and the A string 12th fret, and then hammer on to the 14th fret of the A string. So it's kind of like your strum, slide, strum, strum, but it's a strum, hammer, strum, strum. Strum, hammer, strum, strum. 12, 14, and then bend 14, wiggle 14. Something in between a bend and a wiggle, a wiggle. Then the power chords are B, 7th fret of the E string, A, 5th fret of the E string. So that whole riff. While that's going on, this is kind of a mind screw because there's another guitar doing this. An E octave chord on the 12th fret of the E string and the 14th fret of the D string. And then kind of wiggling that D string 14th fret when the A string wiggles. Takes us through the intro. The only difference with the verse, or the first part when the singing happens, is instead of it's so. And that takes us through that much. And then the first sort of jam section, the lead guitar is soloing in E minor pentatonic. So 12, 15, 12, 14, 12, 14, 12, 14, 12, 15, 12, 15. He starts out bending the B string, 15th fret. Do whatever you like there, but that's where you're looking if you're trying to figure out what it really, really, really is. The rhythm is low E now, G A, followed by low E, B A, low E, G A, and then whenever you're looking for something to just sound like kind of a big mess, you use the Jimi Hendrix chord, which is what they did here. The Jimi Hendrix chord is E, 7, sharp 9. So A string 7th fret, D string 6th fret, G string 7th fret, and B string 8th fret. So the next verse is similar to the first verse, but different in that the transition-y power chords come twice as often and the verse is half as long, right? So you do your thing, and then just after this much more, you do your BA one, then you do it again. GA this time, so it has both during the singing, not just the other one. Okay. Then the third one's the same as the first one. And then you just hit an E power chord. You could do this kind of in any number of ways. You could hit your low one. You could hit an E power chord here. You could, I don't think that's it. You could just do the E string open and the A string 14th fret. I kind of like that one. So here's that verse. This next part's really weird. It's really straightforward, but it's really weird because you do your G power chord, strum, slide, strum, strum, up to A, and then it's an E, but it really sounds like Billy Corgan's just hitting the open B and the open E strings. It's definitely not an E major. That doesn't fit there. So I want to do the E power chord. But then you don't get those open E and B strings that are definitely there. So I don't really know how you finesse. It seems so herky-jerky. You can go ahead and work on that if you want, but I'm going to play the low E power chord. You get that? It's not the right sound. You could do the high E power chord too. I just do not know. That's what it is. All right, next comes some good, clean fun. We're going to do a D power chord, so 5th fret of the A string, 7/7 on D G, but we're going to add a low 5th for some extra beef. So 5/5 7/7 on E A D G. We're going to go. And then the cool little walk riff thing is A5, E7, 6/5 open, A5. And then a low E real quick before getting up to the Jimi Hendrix chord. Let that ring out. So nice and slow. Second time, it just ends on the low E. I mean, the trick to that fast part is getting it muted. It's kind of like cleaner because you have more proprioception between your right hand and your left hand if you're muting it. Well, that was really good. Do that. The rhythm for the very soft part is E, D, E, D, C, and C. I hear a high G in that last C there, so pinky finger goes on baby E3, and let's see if we can get the noodly doodlies there. All right, goldfish brain, tiny pieces. So you're gonna make an F shape, but it's gonna be on 12, 13, 14. That's like, well, that's one octave higher than your E chord. You'd move it up, and it's like you're doing the root 6 major bar chord, but you're only doing the B string, the G string, and the D string out of this, so you just end up with an F shape on 12, 13, 14, and we're gonna pluck B, G, B, G, D, G, B, G, B, Gs, and then G12, 11. So, only reason I'm taking my fingers off and putting them back down is so it doesn't start to sound like a big muddy chord. And it kind of keeps the whole same feel when you switch it up. So they're all just little tiny little bing notes. For segment 1. The second segment of this grapefruit begins in kind. But after that, we're going to go to B15, 17, E16, B17, E15, 14. And the last part's cake. G12, 11, 12, 9, 12, 11, 9. And that's it for the tinkly, notey things. Oh, God, Jesus. The next solo is over this thing. That's really the thing that this astounds me. But anyways, I'm playing the low E. Go ahead and play the low E. There's two guitars. Maybe one guy's playing the E and one guy's literally just going. It kind of sounds like that in the mix. Like that little is kind of isolated, but I don't know. What do you think about that? Anyways, this part ends in G, A, G, B. Super, super fast. Go do the best you can. Kind of the messier the better. So. And then it goes back to the, and then it ends in the doodle-a-doom, which is All right, this has got to be single notes. I don't think power chords can move this fast. So A2, pull off to open, E3, pluck open. Do that twice. And then the third one starts the same, but we're going to do pluck E3, pull off to open, do it again, and then E3, and then an A chord. Part 9. Okay, so then like, you know, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and then you hear some nondescript sort of E notes ring out before the next super chill part. I just played an E octave chord there. I think it sounds pretty good. A7, G9 with an E string ringing out there. And then we're going to play a D, a regular D. And then we're going to move said regular D up 2 frets. That makes it a non-regular E. You can still do your sus4 move just like you do in D with your pinky on the E string. This is how, like, I haven't changed my guitar tone. I'm just plucking really lightly now. This is how your plucking can impact how much distortion you have. Ready? Anyways, then there's another part. This chord's a trick. You're going to put your pointer finger on A2 and your ring finger on D4. And that looks like a B power chord, but it's not. Because look, you're going to pluck the E string, the A string, the D string, the G string, and then the B string. Just pluck down the strings, right? It's actually an E minor chord. Like, it's the same as E minor in every single way except this D string, except for being the 2nd fret. It's the 4th fret. That turns this E, the 2nd E, extant in our E minor, right? There's the first one. There's the second one. That makes this the 1st note of the scale, this the 8th note of the scale, and then that the 9th note of the E minor scale. So it's an E minor 9. And then the second time, instead of the B string as the last string you pluck the E string. And then the third time's the same as the first time. This is a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. And then you just hit a low E. All right, home stretch. They wanted a big mess, so they used the Jimi Hendrix chord. Until they went back into this for the outro. And I got it figured out. You can hear the guitar that goes like this, going like this. Just doing percussive strums, and then for some reason it's easier to control. For me anyways. So there's the answer to that mystery, and now we've done Siva, or Siva, by Smashing Pumpkins. So thank you, Jason. Thank you, Oh Please. And thank you for being here. And I will see you next time with more stuff. Good luck with this one.